are in it together. The mood of the association of devotees is that we are all fighting the war against Maya together. It's not that we are all individual soldiers. When we are fighting this war against Maya together, with the help of Guru and Krishna, Guru is the commander in chief. But then we have the association of all of our army people. And when we are fighting this war, if one soldier goes down, everyone else comes and tries to help him. Not that, okay, they are on their own, I'm on my own. We are not fighting individual wars. That's why that association of devotees is very important. And that mood, that if anyone is injured, we should come together to help that individual rather than letting that individual be on their own. That is the real association of devotees, where we remind each other of Krishna, where we are concerned about each other's spiritual life as well as material life, because it affects spiritual life. And the best is when our material life becomes spiritual life. There is no material life. Everything becomes spiritual. Even when we are engaging in so-called material activities, our consciousness is still spiritual, and we are spiritualizing everything. That is the effect of association of devotees, is that our life becomes completely spiritualized. There is no balancing material and spiritual. Everything is spiritual. We are spiritualizing everything. That kind of transformation happens because of the inspiration we get in the association of devotees, because of the information that we get, because of the inspiration that we get. This transformation happens due to exchange of faith. We see advanced devotees, how they are conducting their lives. And then that transfer of faith. Wow, this devotee, he's working a job and he's also taking care of his family, but he still makes sure that he gets up early in the morning, performs Mangal Arati, chants 16 rounds, does his exercise, and associates with devotees. Well, I can also do that. He has that kind of faith. I can also develop that faith. That is the exchange of faith that happens. When we see devotees are going through troubles, but they are still depending on Krishna, helplessly just dependent on Krishna, and they're not giving up chanting the holy names. They're continuing. In fact, they're increasing their endeavor in chanting the holy names, helplessly crying out, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we see they are continuing to read Srila Prabhupada's books, that gives us inspiration. That gives us faith. Oh, that person has faith in the dependence of Krishna. We should also depend on Krishna. That is association of devotees. And we have so many examples in the scriptures of this, where people have actually really benefited from the sadhu sanga. There are some in the lives of the associates of Srila Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. We have example of Jada Bharath. Jada Bharath, as we know, that he was actually Bharat Maharaj in his previous life. He gave up his kingdom to his sons, and he went to the forest. He was on the bhava stage. There are 9 stages of devotional service. Ado Shraddha tatha Sadhu Sanga tatha Bhajan Kriya tatha Anartha Nivritti. Then comes Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, and then Prema. He was in the penultimate stage of Prema, of love of God. And in that Bhava stage, he was performing his meditation, his sadhana in the forest alone. And just then, what he happened to see, he saw this ghastly scene where a tiger was chasing this deer, and this doe, this female deer, she jumped across a lake. And when the tiger saw that this deer is now away from his reach, he started roaring. And in that roar, while she was jumping, she was pregnant. And because of that roar, when she was in the air, she had a miscarriage, and the baby fell into the river. And and the mother, she went to the other side, and she looked back. She couldn't do anything. And Bharat Maharaj was seeing all this, and he was so compassionate. Naturally, he dove and he saved this baby deer. And then he started caring for this baby deer, and slowly, steadily, uh, he became started becoming attached to the baby deer. And Srila Prabhupada says there, it is good to have affection towards family members, good to have affection towards other living entities, but we should not become attached to them, separate from Krishna. We should become attached to Krishna, but we can show affection to everyone. And the fine line between affection and attachment is, are we sacrificing our spiritual sadhana? We should be affectionate, but we should know our priority is our chanting of the holy names, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees. That is our priority. When we start losing that priority in our life because of attachment, then it has become attachment to other things. But otherwise, affection is okay. And that's what started happening in the life of Maharaj Bharat. He was he started, because of his attachment to the baby deer, he started neglecting his sadhana. Or sometimes first he started saying, okay, he would perform his meditation with both of his eyes closed. Then slowly he said, let me just open my eyes and perform my meditation, so side by side I can also see if this deer, baby deer, is not in the harm's way. And so he started opening his eyes and performing his meditation while also seeing where the baby deer is going. And then slowly, steadily, his level of sadhana started reducing, and he became attached to the deer. Imagine, he was at the penultimate stage of love of God. And at the time of death, guess what? He thought of a deer, and then in the next life, he got the body of a deer. And Srila Prabhupada, he gives a purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam while telling this story, this pastime, that if Maharaj Bharat had association of devotees, one of the devotees may have come and said, Prabhu, Bharat Prabhu, it seems that you're getting too much attached to this deer. Let's perform our sadhana together. And Maharaj Bharat would have been cautioned, and he would have probably taken more care of his sadhana and taken care of the deer at the same time. So in this way, we can understand. Prabhupada says this is the disadvantage of not having association of devotees, that even someone at the bhava stage can actually fall down to attachment. What to speak of us? Srila Prabhupada says, if anyone thinks that they can advance in Krishna consciousness without the association of devotees, then they are the most, I think the word he uses is mad. There is no one more mad than that person. So we should understand, at any stage of Krishna consciousness, we need association of devotees. But what is the association of devotees? Generally, we say, oh, we should just gather around and talk to devotees. But what are we talking? What is the quality of that? That's very important. And in the next life, as a deer, because of his advancement in Krishna consciousness, that deer, which was Bharat Maharaj, in his next life, had the remembrance. He was Jati Smara. He remembered all his past life. He remembered what mistakes he did in his previous life, who he was in the previous life. And therefore, this time, this deer was always around the hermitages of the sages. He was always associating with the sages. And due to that, in his next life, he got the body of a human again, And he still remembered all his past life. I was Maharaj Bharat, I was the deer, and now I've got this. This is my last lifetime. And so he acted as if he is Jada Bharat, meaning he's completely mad. He does not. He wasn't following any social norms, so that people leave him alone, and he can just focus on his sadhana internally. And because of that, one time when Maharaj Rahuguna got his association, because this Jadabharat was asked by the king's men to carry his palanquin. And as he was carrying the palanquin, he saw through the forest, the king was inside the palanquin, and Jadabharat, he saw some ants in the forest. And he was trying to avoid those ants, avoid stamping on those ants. And because of that, the palanquin was going upside down, was having all these turbulations. And the king was really, really upset because of that. And he asked the palanquin to stop, and he said, "Who is doing this?" And in this way, Maharaj Rahuguna got the association of Jada Bharat, a pure devotee of the Lord. And by that association, Maharaj Rahuguna was liberated. So there are so many different pastimes how association of devotees helps us.